Hello everyone, welcome to Down and Dirty. Today we're working on the center bezel and the dash of the LJ. Kind of off some rough roads the other day and it started making a rattling sound, which it never had before. I found that if I pushed on the passenger side of it, it would stop rattling. So needless to say, I just thought I'd let it go and deal with it when I got home, but that was a bad mistake. So it got worse. Basically ended up in the back seat before I got home. So I'll show you here real quick what happened, where I'm at with it, and what I plan on doing with it, and hopefully this will keep it together for quite some time. We'll see what happens. Kind of looked online for used ones. All the used ones seem to have these same tabs broken. You got two tabs at the top, have two screws that go into the dash, and both of my tabs broke off. I found also inside of it one of the clips on the passenger side. That one whole piece is missing. Up near the radio. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that. It'd be nice to have that. I think that may have kept it from complete destruction like it did. So anyway, we'll show you what we've got going on here and see how it works out. Okay, here's what I have. Both these tabs broke off. I have epoxied them back in. This one was actually in pieces. So I'm really leery about that one actually staying together. Although I've got a lot of epoxy in here where they broke off, but I'm worried about that one staying together. I put some extra epoxy on the back side of this one since it was, like I said, it was cracked in multiple spots, but I'm still not real confident on that one holding up. So what I've done, I made up this piece of sheet metal. I'm going to make one for the other side also. I made one for this side first to see how it's going to work, fit up. It actually fits up very nice. My intention is to epoxy this on there. All along here, and the back side of this. Want to epoxy it all on. Once the epoxy dries, then my intention is to drill the hole through it. And hopefully, that'll be a nice reinforcement for long-term repair. All right, so here we are. I've got it all epoxied in. I got some clamps on it. We're gonna leave it set all night, so I can really only do one side at a time. So I'll leave this one set all night, and we'll get the other piece of metal cut tomorrow for the other side. This was the worst side anyway. I think the other side, that tab would probably just stay on there itself, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It's great reinforcement. Like I said, used ones I've seen of these, you can buy them online. Oh, it's $60, $70 for one with broken tabs. So it seems to be a pretty common problem. So I don't know, you got a TJ, hasn't broken yet? Maybe you should do this before it breaks. Okay, so here we are. I got the first side was all dry this morning. When I came out here, the epoxy was all dry, so I took all the clamps and everything off. Made the second half, which is all clamped on, epoxied it on, probably about 2 hours ago, so it's going to be a while. But I think the first side came out really good. I could take more time. Making the metal pieces. Maybe grind them all up nice and pretty with radius edges, and actually I can still clean this up after the fact, but I'm just doing this to try it, see what happens, see what works out. If it does, then fantastic. We'll find out soon. I gotta get the epoxy to dry on this other side for when I unclamp it, and then I have to drill my holes out for my screws. It's all right, these are the pieces of sheet metal that I cut, bent. I just bent everything by hand, cut everything by hand with 10 snips. And then I just drilled my holes back out with a step bit. I basically just used this step bit and a drill the holes back out. It's the epoxy that I used. I picked it up at Walmart, I believe. It's just Loctite. 5-minute epoxy. I think they're all about the same. It's different brand names on them. So that's what I used to epoxy the tabs back on first, and then to epoxy the metal reinforcement tabs, reinforcement metal plates that I made. And so we're going to put it on, see how it fits. Okay, so there we are. We've got it mounted back in the dash. Everything fit up real nice. Over fit, everything is still good. A little concerned about how much thicker that may have ended up with all the epoxy, gluing the tabs back on. I know if I wouldn't have glued the tabs back on and just put sheet metal on there, It may not have come out as thick, but it still came out okay. There it is with the vent cover snapped on. Everything still lines up perfectly. All still looks good. I think that's a good repair. Okay, well that concludes that video of the center bezel for the dash on the 2005 LJ, same as your TJs. Got the little tabs up top there that are underneath the strip for, goes side to side on your dash for the defrost and everything, covers up the top of the dash. So if you've had your tabs break, or you might want to look to see, it seems to be a pretty common problem, those tabs break off. So I just took some 26 gauge sheet metal that I had laying around from Lowe's that I bought and did another project with a while back. I just cut it out with tin snips, bent it around with some vice grips and in the vice, and 5-minute epoxied it on, drilled the holes back out where the screws go through the tabs, and it's definitely stronger than what it was originally from the factory, that's for sure. That sheet metal welded on there, so I don't foresee having any more problems. Even with my bezel, has a little spring clip tab was broken off on the right side of the radio, so I think that's part of the reason that this started to fail to start with, because the right side tab broke first when I was on the washboarded gravel road, and then the driver's side broke, and just ended up putting the whole thing in the back seat for that drive because there was nothing holding it on anymore. But I've had it back on the Jeep, been driving for several days now, back and forth to work, hit some speed bumps with it. It doesn't creak, squeak, rattle, anything. And I know originally I had a little bit, but I didn't know what it was, and it may have been that it was just starting to go to start with. So if you got any problems with yours, if you already have one that's broken, I would just glue some sheet metal on the back there and mark out where your holes need to be and drill your holes and put it back together if you've got a used one or a broken one. From what I've heard, it's a fairly common problem. So it's just a good way to fix it. Quick, easy, and it's definitely stronger than what it was from the factory. You know, plastic gets brittle over time. 2005, the things had a lot of sun abuse on it. Alright, thank you for watching the video. Like, subscribe, share, comment below if you have any other ideas or if you've done anything else to repair these bezels. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Take care.